When you hear this,
they've got him again.
And this,
He scored.
And this.
Oh boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Monday edition of Game Night, and an Eagles win. Finally at home, they win a game. How about them apples? Man. You know, you've been waiting the entire year for the Eagles to win a home game, and they finally did it yesterday. And yet some of the Eagle fans are still unhappy today. How crazy is that? You give them a bag of money and they tell you it's too heavy. Josh Hennig here, hanging out with you on a Monday edition. Yes, Eagles win yesterday over a banged-up Saints team. They won a game they're supposed to win, and they get it done in front of the home crowd. We'll talk more about it coming up with Dave Weinberg. He will join us on a Monday this week because it's an abbreviated week, so we're shuffling the deck around. We're going to have Dave Weinberg today, Andy McNamara on Wednesday, because a lot of you probably have people in fantasy going on Thursday. So we got you covered all week here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, text board is open as always at 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. You know, I'm watching that game yesterday, and Mike Gill mentioned something earlier in the Sports Bash that I was thinking a little bit the same yesterday. And that was, you're watching that game and you're thinking, isn't this how the Eagles are supposed to win games? They're supposed to go out there and shove someone around, you know, inflict their will on somebody else, dictate the pace of the game. That's what they did yesterday. Offensively, they took the game, they grabbed the bull by the horns, and they said, we are going to run the ball. We are going to dictate to you. We don't care that you are the number one ranked rush defense. And the Eagles, for 2 straight years now, take the Saints defense and run all over them. Don't forget, Miles Sanders had a big game last year, and so did Jalen Hurts last year on the ground against the Saints. So the Eagles know something. The Eagles obviously have players who are capable of taking advantage of the Saints defense. Now, that doesn't abdicate responsibility from Jonathan Gannon's defense that took their foot off the gas pedal in the second half. And I understand part of that was probably because of Darius Slay, but you can't just go in there and not try to go blitzkrieg on Trevor Siemian, for goodness sake. You're telling me Trevor Siemian is more scary than like a Jared Goff or something? No, it's basically the same dude. So as far as I'm concerned, I look at this situation yesterday and I say it's a great win, but the criticism to me is not on the offense. The criticism is on the defense. The offense did their job. And I told you guys on Friday's show, I was concerned all along that the defense was going to be what made or braked this game, because you're going against offense without their 2 starting tackles. Armstead and Ramczyk are arguably 2 of the 10 best at their respective positions, left and right tackle. You're without Alvin Kamara, who's arguably one of the 5 best running backs in the NFL. No starting quarterback, Jameis Winston, out for the year. You had Trevor Siemian. Even Taysom Hill was questionable coming into that game. By the way, why does Taysom Hill get a contract extension? For everyone wants to complain about the Eagles or whatever team you're a fan of. You're a Jets fan. You're a Giants fan. You know your team is not doing? Giving contract extensions to dudes who are not even starting quarterbacks. He's gotten 2 in the last few years. Why does this dude keep getting contract extensions? Does he have blackmail on the Saints organization? But I digress. Back to the Eagles. You look at the defense. In the first half, they were making the Saints uncomfortable. And I always felt like the Eagles were going to have some points scored on them because I feel like the Saints still have talent at wide receiver. I just didn't think that Simeon was going to be able to sling it at all in the second half, which he did. And I blame Gannon for that. I think Gannon took his foot off the gas pedal. But at the end of the day, the Eagles won the game. And a big part of it was the run game. There was a situation that happened the first half that I tweeted about that I don't think has gotten enough conversation today. And that was the flag that was not called when Marcus Davenport shoved Jalen Hurts out of bounds. And the person who got up in Davenport's face was Jordan Mailata. You know, the guy who's barely been playing football. He gets up and he goes to Davenport, points right at him, and Davenport tries to just shush him away with his one hand, saying, whatever, man, whatever. And what does Mailata do? Almost every snap moving forward, he looked Davenport dead in the eye and was coming right for him to the point where they almost got into a huge fight late in the first half. Mailata made a point in that game to say, I don't care where I am in my career. I don't care that you're a first-round pick, Marcus Davenport. I don't care how many picks the Saints traded away to get you. Because remember, the Saints traded draft picks to move up to get him. And Mailata pointed right at him and says, I know what you did. I'm coming for you, boy. And you know what he did? He came and got him. And they scuffled on the ground, and I'm pumping my fist while I'm watching the game. And I'm like, let's go. Because you know what? Somebody has to stand up when the quarterback gets shoved around. Listen, we live in a league where that play gets flagged almost every single game of every single week. And they didn't flag it there. Now, part of the reason why they didn't flag is because the official who should have thrown the flag, his view is partially obstructed. Not an excuse, but it still should have been thrown. Mailata stepped up. And to me, that was a huge moment in the game and this season. Mailata, not a football guy, a guy who's barely been playing football. He's only played in the NFL. He never played football before he got drafted. He was a rugby guy. He went rugby on Davenport, all 6'8", 370 pounds of him went after Marcus Davenport. He didn't care that he was a first-round pick. He didn't care that Davenport may or may not have meant to shove and push Jalen Hurts out of bounds. All Mailata knew was, I got to stand up for my quarterback. I loved seeing that. And to me, that was a message to not just the Saints, but the rest of the NFL, that the Eagles are going to run the ball. They are going to be physical with you. They are coming to get you. And that is symbolic of what football should be in Philadelphia. You don't come into the link. You don't go into a game with the Eagles if you're not ready for a fight. And that's the message the Eagles have been sending by the running the ball the last few weeks. From the Lions game to yesterday, the last few weeks, they are running the ball. And the passing game is getting opportunities off of the run game. And Mailata sent a message to the Jets, the Giants, the Washington football team, and round 2 with the Cowboys that we are not afraid of you here in Philadelphia. We are coming to knock the snot out of you. And if you got a problem with that and you want to touch my quarterback and you want to get all fancy with me, I'm coming to get you. I loved seeing that yesterday. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. In about 10 minutes, we'll talk more Eagles football with Dave Weinberg. The Weinberg Wednesday moved to Monday because of the holiday week. The schedule is being shuffled around, but we still want to give you some great football conversation here on 97.3 ESPN. Check out Dave Weinberg's extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Of course, you can guys join the conversation. Text board is 609-403-0973. That's 609-403-0973. You also can chime in as you watch the show on YouTube and Twitter at 973ESPN. And we are also on the 973 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. You can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app as well. Don't forget, tonight is the final game of NFL Week 11. With Thanksgiving inching closer, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every game day. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is make a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Offers like this are just one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. So lock in your same-game parlay today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code Hennig to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Hennig to get your risk-free bets exclusively with FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to play and present in New Jersey. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile or web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And you know, a game like tonight with the Bucks and the Giants, which you can hear right here, starting at 7:30 p.m. coverage here on 97.3 ESPN. This is another opportunity for that guy, Tom Brady, to put up stats. If you're putting together a same game parlay for tonight's game, I highly suggest that you put at least one prop into your same game parlay. Tom Brady, this year alone, not for his career, I'm talking about just this year, has thrown for 290 passing yards or more 6 times. He has only thrown for less than that 4 times. And those teams were the Bears, a game that they blew the Bears out, by the way. They just ran the ball. Washington, who seems to have their number for some reason or another. New England, which was in the middle of a rainstorm. That was a sloppy game. And the Atlanta game, where they ran the ball the majority of the second half, but he still completed 66% of his passes. So, I really like, if you go to Tom Brady, alternate passing yards for tonight's game, give me over 275 passing yards. What I also like in tonight's game, in terms of rushing yards, it's not Barkley. Give me the over 21.5 for Daniel Jones. I feel like this guy, all he does is just run around almost every single game. I feel like I see him just running around like a chicken with a head cut off every single game. And then the other one I throw in there, I understand the Giants have a solid secondary. They really do. They really do. Which is why I think a tight end is going to score a touchdown tonight. Now, Gronk, we don't know 100% if he's playing tonight or not. That's apparently still, he's expected to play, but he's technically questionable. So why don't you throw either O.J. Howard or Cameron Brate into your same game parlay? So it's Brady over 275, Daniel Jones rushing over 21.5, and either O.J. Howard or Cameron Brate, who are both great value plays, anytime touchdown scorer, into your same game parlay with FanDuel Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're going to talk more Eagles NFL next with Dave Weinberg, and we'll get all your guys' messages on the text board at 973 ESPN on YouTube and Twitter, and when you DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
What a save by Carter Hart.
The Flyers are in Tampa to face the Lightning.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
No one outpaces the Hut. Ask for a limited time offer. Not available.
With GMF approval excludes Corvette. Before you sell or trade your vehicle, you should go to Bennett Chevy and get the most for your trade. This month, Bennett Chevy starts the bidding on trades at $7,000. Yes, Bennett will give you a minimum $7,000 for any old clunker you can push, pull, or tow towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And remember, we'll buy yours even if you don't buy ours. And if we start at $7,000 for junk, how much more do you think we'll pay for a good running vehicle? Grab your title or payment book and get the absolute most for your trade today. Want a brand new vehicle? While others are charging a fortune for new vehicles, Bennett still rejects any opportunity to charge 1 penny over MSRP. Stuck in a lease? Bennett can get you out early, all makes and models. So come see what your vehicle's worth today at Bennett, where there's absolutely no obligation and no pressure, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find your roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on Game Night, hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. With your guys' thoughts and comments in just a bit over at 609-403-0973. Also, we're live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. And, of course, we're streaming on the 973 ESPN mobile app. Joining us on a Monday instead of a Wednesday this week as we're shuffling things around for the holiday week. Dave Weinberg, kind enough to join us a little bit earlier in the week here on 97.3 ESPN. And you see him live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. Dave, how are you doing on this day after an Eagles' first home win of the season?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Josh. How are you? I guess Eagles fans are pretty excited now.
I would hope they would be. I mean, some of them are still negative Nancy's, some of them are complaining now they're running the ball too much and, all that stuff. You know how it is. You give somebody a bag of money, they say that how the bag of money is too heavy. So
That's true. Yep. Especially in Philadelphia.
yeah. So what was one thing that stood out to you about the win yesterday? I know you wrote a couple different things over at 973ESPN.com, but if you were to encapsulate some of that, because I want people to actually go and read what you wrote, but what would you encapsulate what you saw yesterday?
I was impressed overall, especially with the offense, the way that Sirianni stuck to his guns. I mean, everybody made much of the fact that New Orleans had the top-rated rushing defense coming into the league, but they stuck to their philosophy of using the running game, used Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard before he got hurt, Boston Scott, and Jalen Hurts especially. I just thought they did a tremendous job of sticking to their game plan, not veering from it. And when you get a lead, it really helps too. But they showed a little bit of fortitude there by holding off the Saints. When they staged a little bit of a rally, they answered that, and that was pretty impressive too.
One of the big moments of the game to me, Dave, was a moment that I don't think is being talked about enough. When there was no flag on Hurts when Davenport shoved him out of bounds. And Mailata gets right up on him and points right at him and says, basically, I saw that. Davenport tries to wave him off with his hand. And a few plays later, Mailata and Davenport are basically fighting on the bottom of a pile. They had to come in and break it up. And to me, it was a big moment because of the fact that this team is saying, look, we're coming for you guys. We're not settling. We're going to run the ball. We're going to be physical. It's like they found their identity and now they're stamping it.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to protect your quarterback at all costs. And, kudos to Jordan for stepping up like that and, showing that you're not going to be able to push us around. I don't know that Jordan's the guy I would want doing that. I mean, I don't know if he's been in the league long enough to have that kind of, I don't want to say reputation, but I would rather see maybe like Lane Johnson or Jason Kelsey do the honors. But, the fact that someone stepped up is that says a lot, like you said, about their identity, the fact that they're not going to just like sit back and let teams, try to push, beat them up or whatever, or establish their will. The Eagles are going to be the ones that establish things.
What does it say to you that Jalen Hurts is playing the way he is? Now, I'll admit, the second half was not a great second half for him. But the last few weeks overall, he has shown growth in his decisiveness. I'm seeing a more decisive player than we saw the first few weeks of the year.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about every week almost, Josh, I mean, there's always going to be naysayers, but I think the fact that the way he played yesterday, scoring, rushing for 3 touchdowns, tying the franchise record, becoming the first Eagles quarterback to do it. And the way he just like maintained his poise and control throughout, there should be no question now that he's their franchise quarterback, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he's done everything you could ask the kid to do. You know, like we said, does he miss throws occasionally? Yeah, but so does everybody else. I think he's clearly established himself as the guy going forward. It seems like the rest of the team certainly feels that way, because they seem to be, like you mentioned with Jordan Mailata. I think that proves that they're gonna stand with him. They're gonna stand behind him 100% of the time.
What do you say to the people, Dave? Because you've covered the Eagles for a very long time. You've seen a lot of football. You've probably forgotten more football than some people actually know. You know, what do you say to the people who say,
I forget a lot these days, but go ahead.
Well, I won't hold that against you, but
that's all right.
I want to ask you, what do you say to the people who say you can't win with a running quarterback? What do you say to them?
Say they're full of baloney. I mean, it's happening throughout the league. I mean, you saw what Lamar Jackson's done, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, what have you. I mean, they're all pretty much like running quarterbacks. And Jalen, I think he's going to probably evolve to the point where he doesn't have to run so much. But if it's working, why would you mess with it? I don't think that's that they can make much of an argument that the Eagles can't win this way, because they're winning.
Dave Weinberg joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Check out his extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, if I had a real negative from yesterday, was I don't understand why this keeps happening, but Miles Sanders keeps having issues with holding on to the ball and then staying in bounds when you're trying to run out the clock. I don't understand if it's a mental block. I don't understand if it's symbolic of maybe his limitations. What do we do with Miles Sanders at this point? The guy had an amazing game overall, but he almost lost the ball twice. And this is now the second time this season he should be running out the clock, and he runs out of bounds.
Yeah, they're not running out of bounds. That's just a lack of focus, a lack of maybe attention to the situation of the game. And there's really no excuse for that. The ball security stuff, that's really starting to concern me, Josh. That's the one thing that's keeping him from being an elite running back. The fact that he has these fumble issues, and if he doesn't find a way to correct them, then it's really going to be a problem for him down the line. I don't know if they can rely on him. He is. There's no questioning his talent. He's the one home run hitter that they don't have, and when he's on, he's as good as it gets. But he just has that fumbling issue. It might be more of a mental block now, or a confidence thing, but he's got to find a way to overcome that.
Is it to a point where the Eagles maybe need to invest more, whether it's a free agent or draft capital or something, in running backs moving forward? Maybe they need a Jordan Howard kind of guy permanently to pair with Miles Sanders.
Well, you always need more than one running back, and I think Jordan Howard has proven that he can be that guy. I would keep him as long as I can. And Boston Scott's proven to be, and they seem to think a lot of Kenny Gainwell too. So I think they think he has a bright future. But yeah, if there's a running back out there that they think fits their offense, fits their needs, I wouldn't be opposed to them going to get him.
Dave, let's flip over to the defense. I want to ask you about what we saw, because I felt the one biggest criticism I had was Gannon took his foot off the gas pedal in the second half. And I understand Slay got injured, but you're going against Trevor Siemian. You're not going against Tom Brady here, okay?
All right. Drew Brees, yeah.
Right. You go get the quarterback. They're missing both their tackles. I don't understand why they got just passive all of a sudden in the second half. To me, if you just pin your ears back and just say go, and if they happen to you get got once in a while, well, it happens, but you got to go after the quarterback.
I agree with you. Yeah. You can't just start playing passive. And I understand, like you said, you want to protect the lead. You got a big lead. You don't want to take any necessary chances, but it worked for you very well for the first three quarters. So why would you all of a sudden change what you're doing and go in that so-called prevent defense? That made no sense to me. And you're right. You should have kept your foot on the gas pedal, so to speak, kept the pressure on Siemian, and hopefully he's going to force him into making a couple more mistakes. And that would have been the way to go. I don't think Slay being out or in shouldn't have mattered as far as the way they approached the fourth quarter.
Now, Dave, the next game the Eagles play is against the Giants, who played tonight.
Yep.
Is there something that you're curious about seeing from the Giants in the game tonight?
Saquon Barkley, if he's playing, I want to see what kind of offense they have with him in there. When he's healthy, he's about the best there is in the league. I think Daniel Jones is kind of underrated. People seem to really like to pile on him. I guess that's the New York media, New York fans, just like Philly fans do it. But I happen to think Daniel Jones is pretty talented. He doesn't seem to have the greatest supporting cast, but I think with him and Saquon Barkley taking some of the pressure off, I'm going to be real curious to see if they can score some points on Tampa and maybe even pull off the upset.
Listen, I already said it earlier, Dave. Daniel Jones is in my parlay. I'm taking over 20 and a half rushing yards. I feel like that guy's always running around because that offensive line is just garbage.
Yeah. Yep. You're right there. Yep. That's a good play.
Dave, I want to ask you about the fight on Saturday night because I hate when something after the fight overshadows a fight. Porter's dad goes out there, throws his kid under the bus. His kid retires after the fight. And it's like, it's like almost like we all forgot that Crawford went out there, had a dominant performance on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a shame that the sideshows always seem to affect what happens in the ring. And it's really a shame for Crawford because he's established himself as one of the top 3 pound for pound guys in the world. Maybe just he's probably second behind Canelo Alvarez. Just a guy who can fight whenever or however he needs to, box, punch, move around defense. He has the whole package, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can find a way to put together that fight with Errol Spence. I think that would be a dynamic matchup. And as I said on Twitter, there's a kid in Philly named Boots Ennis, who's undefeated, probably like 22, 23 years old. I think he might be the next big thing in the welterweight division. So I'd love to see him have a shot at this at some point too.
What do we do with Crawford at this point if he doesn't fight Spence? Because I feel like boxing's getting to a point where, no offense to certain people, I understand these promoters they have a job to do, which is, sell fights, make money. But,
right.
If he's not fighting Spence, I don't know how you sell that fight. I don't know how you rationalize a fight coming up next if it's not Spence.
Yeah, I mean, Crawford is one of those guys who can't sell himself. I don't know what it is about him. I guess it's his personality, but he really doesn't have that flamboyance to him to, make people draw to him, to want to see him fight regardless of who's in the ring with him. He needs Errol Spence to fight him in order to stay on top, to gain even more attention if he can. His contract with Top Rank and Bob Arum just ran out. So maybe that helps me. It doesn't. I don't know. But I would think the promoters would come to their senses and find a way to put that fight together, because I think Crawford definitely needs it, and boxing needs it, quite frankly.
So with Porter supposedly retiring now, what do we say about Porter's career? What is the, I don't know, what's the byline? What's the paragraph an his career?
I think he was a great fighter in his day. I mean, he had quite an impressive run. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to sustain it. But I think he might be a potential Hall of Famer, just in the way the fact that he accomplished so much. I'm not going to denigrate him just because he lost to Crawford, because that's certainly nothing to be ashamed of. I think the guy was a terrific fighter. He had a tremendous career, and best of luck to him in the future.
The thing to me with Porter is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the thing that I remember most about him with his career is he fought people. Like, he fought names. He didn't avoid people. He got in there with Spence, and he got in there with Garcia, and he got in there with Thurman, and he fought Broner too, right? He fought Brock. He fought all the dudes. He fought all the guys with the names. And to me, that's what stands out in a world where guys trying to, fluff up their resume at times. He went in there and fought dudes.
Yeah, and that's a rare thing in boxing nowadays. It's all about protecting your record, trying to get as much money and as a higher ranking as you can, getting some easy wins to pump up your record, gain more popularity. But yeah, to his credit, he never backed away from a challenge. He was willing to get into the ring with whoever would put him in there, whoever they put in front of him. And that's the mark of a really good fighter, really, possibly a great fighter. And you're right. He deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying Crawford doesn't do that, but I think that the problem for Crawford is, like you said, he's not good at promoting himself. So he doesn't really put himself in a position for maybe certain things where, maybe if it was another person, maybe with a different personality, didn't come from his background, maybe they would, because, I saw him in an interview this week, and no offense to him, he seems like a really nice dude and really cool person.
Yeah.
But like,
right. Yeah.
you can tell that he's not, he just doesn't, he doesn't understand that perception is reality. In the world we live in, you have to present yourself to people.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to have that flamboyance. Like I said, you have to, I don't want to say you have to go to the extent of Floyd Mayweather, but the more you can sell yourself, the more you can create controversy, I guess, or attention, the better off you're going to be. That's where you're going to make your money. Talent alone, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't the case, but talent alone just doesn't make a great career. You have to not only fight the best of the best, but you have to, like you said, sell yourself too. And he's just not that good at it.
Yeah, no offense to Crawford, but for having a spotless loss record like he does, I mean, the guy's undefeated, but
right.
I don't find there to be many memorable fights that he has. Like, one of my favorite fights in recent years was the Garcia versus Guerrero fight. I mean, that was absolutely insane. I will never forget that. But I can't say that about a Crawford fight.
Yeah, the problem, he might be too good.
Sure.
And unfortunately, he's not going to get into that. He's never been into like you said, that fight where you really don't know who's going to win. He's been so dominant that there really hasn't been a challenge for him. Hopefully, Spence will be able to do that. That might be the fight where he actually can make his legacy, so to speak. There's a lot of people out there that think Spence might actually be the one that can hit him his first defeat. And if he's challenged, it'd be interesting to see how he reacts to that. If he faces adversity, how he goes into deep water, so to speak, if he's going to sink or swim. And that'll be interesting to see if it happens. Hopefully it does.
Now, another sport that you love that I'm curious to talk to you about, because I won't get to talk to you until this happens, is the next match, which is this week. It's Koepka and DeChambeau. I mean, this is the showdown that everybody wants. This is almost like a fight. This is like two promoters agreeing that they need to let their stars go at it. What are your thoughts on this match here? We actually got a match here.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm kind of disappointed they're only playing, I don't know, 8 holes?
12 holes.
12 holes or something.
Yeah.
I would have loved if it would have been, I would have loved if it had been 18. Sorry, my lights went out there. But I really I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'll watch it. It seems it's getting to the point where it's kind of gimmicky to me now, but those guys are only doing it because they can make some money off of it. But it'll be interesting to see. I think Koepka will probably beat him. I think Koepka's the better all-around player. Although DeChambeau, he's capable of beating him as well. It should be a good match, but I think Koepka will turn out on top. I'm going to watch it, but I don't know. I'm not all that hyped up about it, to be honest with you.
Well, listen, if you think Koepka is going to win, I've seen some books that have Koepka as the underdog on the betting.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah.
That might be a smart bet for people out there.
There you go. Yeah, that's something
that's
something I'd look into.
Absolutely. Dave, before I let you go, obviously this week is Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday of the year. So what does Dave Weinberg's Thanksgiving looking like this year?
Oh, actually, my wife and I are hosting it at our house. We have kind of a thing going with one of her sisters, where we alternate every other year. So it's our turn this year. If I can tell a real quick Thanksgiving story, my father passed away in 2007, and for some reason he had this tradition where my mom would have to cook the neck of the turkey for him. And I don't know why he liked it, but it was really bizarre. So anyway, he passed away. I delivered the eulogy, and at the end I said, Dad, I will save the neck of the turkey for you this Thanksgiving. So a couple of days later, it's Thanksgiving. My wife is in the kitchen rinsing out the turkey. She reaches in to pull out the neck, and there's no neck in the turkey.
What?
Yeah, and I'm like, this is too coincidental to be just a fluke thing. I don't know if he was looking down and took the neck for himself. I don't know what it was, but it's one of those family Thanksgiving traditions that you never forget. And yeah, it was a really weird thing at the time, but that's something that I'll never forget. That's for sure.
Well, that is a cool story. Although I want to know what happened to that neck. I'd like to have a little more. I wish there could have been an investigative report on what happened to the neck of your turkey there. I mean, last time I checked, turkeys do have heads and necks. That's a little strange. I mean,
Yeah,
usually you get a whole turkey. There's a whole thing that goes into it, and all of a sudden, you go and there's no neck, and it's like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yep. Very odd.
Well, Dave, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. Hope you get to enjoy the football, enjoy the match. I appreciate you jumping on early this week, and and this time of being thankful. I'm thankful that you join us every week here on 97.3 ESPN.
Oh, thank you so much, Josh. That really means a lot to me, and I hope you and yours have a happy holiday as well.
I know I still owe you a time to go out and grab a drink. I've been so consumed with work.
That's
here.
true.
So, hopefully during the holidays, maybe the next several weeks we can make that happen. So
that'd be great. I look forward to that.
Dave, we'll catch you next week.
All right, Josh. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Again, you can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave Weinberg 19. His extra point columns are over at 97.3 ESPN.com. All right, as promised, I will get to your guys' messages. I have texts, I have video messages. We'll get to everyone coming up next right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. The 97.3 ESPN mobile app, it's free. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's week 12 of the 2021 season with the Eagles in North Jersey against the Giants.
Back goes Jones again. He steps up. He's hit. The ball is fumbled. Eagles have it. Eagles have it.
Pregame begins this Sunday at noon. Merrill and Mike call all the action starting at 1. This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
It's game time. Football season is in full swing, and you can catch all the NFL action at the FanDuel Sportsbook in Bally's Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City. It's time to get in on all the games you love. Experience sports betting done right with live streaming games, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get your game face on and score big this weekend when you bet at FanDuel Sportsbook in Bally's off the boardwalk, Atlantic City. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
GMF approval excludes Corvette.
Before you sell or trade your vehicle, you should go to Bennett Chevy and get the most for your trade. This month, Bennett Chevy starts the bidding on trades at $7,000. Yes, Bennett will give you a minimum $7,000 for any old clunker you can push, pull, or tow towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And remember, we'll buy yours even if you don't buy ours. And if we start at $7,000 for junk, how much more do you think we'll pay for a good running vehicle? Grab your title or payment book and get the absolute most for your trade today. Want a brand new vehicle? While others are charging a fortune for new vehicles, Bennett still rejects any opportunity to charge 1 penny over MSRP. Stuck in a lease? Bennett can get you out early. All makes and models. So come see what your vehicle's worth today at Bennett, where there's absolutely no obligation and no pressure. Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Hennig. And, of course, Game Night is being brought to you, my friends, over at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Get in on all the action, football, basketball, whatever you want to get in on, whatever you're watching. It's game time at the FanDuel Sportsbook right off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. It's time to experience sports betting done right with live streaming games, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get your game face on and score big this weekend when you bet with FanDuel Sportsbook only at Bally's Atlantic City. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. By the way, our bet of the week hit again this week. I told you guys to rock with another Big 12 Pac-12 game, I should say. UCLA, they didn't just cover the spread. They beat down USC, especially second half of that game. I was like, whoa. I mean, I expected UCLA to win by maybe 10 points. But, man, they just told USC to go home and cry me a river after the end of that game. That was nuts. So we'll give you another bet of the week later this week as we get closer to the weekend. And that's all brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Let's get to some of your guys' messages as they came in throughout. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973. Mike in Ocean City chimes in. Says, Josh, I couldn't agree more. Mailata was on point. It was fantastic. He used to scrum. I think we're watching a new generation that will bring the Eagles a lot of wins. I'm with you, Mike in Ocean City. I like Mailata a lot. I might be a little biased, but I think Mailata has a chance to be a year in and year out candidate for a Pro Bowl. I feel like he's that caliber of player. I just think that he's one of those guys that you can tell has the physical tools to be great in this league. And I think that he can be at least as good as Lane Johnson's been on the right side of the line. Also on the text board, Tim in Millville says, I was jacked when Mailata was getting in on it with Davenport. That's from Tim in Millville. How can you not? I mean, that guy went out there and said, I'm going to protect my quarterback. I'm going to go after this guy. I don't care who you are. I don't care what he is. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I hope I see more Mailata jerseys running around town moving forward. Dan EHC chimes in, how about Sanders not running out of bounds again when they were trying to run the clock out? Yeah, Dan, it's a problem, man. It's really a problem. I asked Dave Weinberg about it. I'm starting to think that Sanders is not capable of being a number one back. He doesn't have the football IQ to be able to comprehend this. I mean, remember back in the Panthers game, they had to bench him. They had to put him on the bench and be like, dude, we can't trust you in this game anymore. They had to yank him out of the game in the fourth quarter when they're trying to run down the clock. And he did it again yesterday. And they might have benched him too if Jordan Howard wasn't out with an injury. So remember, there was no Gainwell yesterday. So to me, the Sanders issue is a problem. And we gotta figure it out, man. I don't know if I have the right answer, but I think that there might be a possibility the Eagles are going to keep going with this running back committee moving forward, because it seems like more and more that you can't rely on Miles Sanders to do all the work moving forward. Shaner over on Twitter says, thanks for bringing up that non-call on Hurts. If that was Tom Brady or any other pocket passer, it's a flag. Hurts is young. a runner, it doesn't have the same respect. Just like Cam used to point out, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but like you said, Cam Newton has pointed this out before. Running quarterbacks don't get the same level of respect that the pocket passers do when it comes to these flags. If that was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, there's a flag being thrown. But because it's Jalen Hurts, his view was obstructed. The official couldn't fully see the play. Stop. If that was anybody else, you would have thrown the flag, but you didn't want to because whatever. You don't respect him. He hasn't earned his stripes. Whatever. Just officiate the game. Stop officiating the name on the back of the jersey. Coach over on the YouTube viewership says, Josh, all these defenses nowadays are built to stop the pass with smaller, faster guys. Eagles have these massive people movers, and it's something that none of these other teams can match. Yeah, there's something to say about the fact that these defenses are not built to deal with the run. Look at a guy like TJ Edwards on the Eagles. He's had to evolve his game into not just being a thumper, and he's become a more well-rounded linebacker. There's very few thumpers in the game anymore. There's very few guys who can bang in the trenches with these offense. There's no Levon Kirkland anymore. There's no Jeremiah Trotter anymore. Those guys can't play in linebacker in today's game. And the same thing with safety, by the way. The bigger safety is now becoming a linebacker. Look what happened to Mark Barron. It's probably going to happen to the kid from Notre Dame, Alexander. These guys are safeties in college. Kevon Wallace is a kind of a hybrid as well. He's more of a box safety who you're going to probably have to turn to a hybrid linebacker. These bangers are not as well equipped to deal with the passing games at the NFL level. So he's right. Listen, I think the Eagles can keep using this run game. I say keep doing it until somebody stops you. And if they do stop you, it's only one game. If you go through 2 games and teams start stopping your run game, then you got to change. Then you got to adjust. Then you got to evolve. Then you got to, kind of recontemplate, go back to the drawing board. But for right now, just keep running. Just keep banging, because every time you run behind Mailata and Dickerson and Kelsey doing the pull around the edge, Lane Johnson mauling guys, even Driscoll's played very well. I mean, I still think Brandon Brooks is the better right guard, but Driscoll's played very well as well. I think the Eagles have a formula to keep winning. That's why I wore this shirt. If you're watching on YouTube and Twitter, it's the old "We all we got, we all we need" shirt. I think this team has a chance to get to the playoffs and maybe surprise somebody, all because of the running game. All right, thanks, Dave Weinberg, for joining us a little bit earlier in the week this week. So to come tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Monday Night Football, Giants and Bucks coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow following the Sports Bash. Mike Gill at 6 p.m. right here on 97.3.